Checks in from Australia with a word of warning for travelers down under. Don't believe everything you hear about Australia. But first, at the news desk, here's Bob Jameson. All right, Joe Whitty has the weather for us in just a moment. Then Mike Leonard tries to find someone in Australia who can throw a boomerang. After a message.
And now, singing that old Australian beer-drinking song, Why My Boomerang Won't Come Back, here's Jane.
Maybe not today, Joe. Today, correspondent Mike Leonard is part of our advance party in Australia, and he says he is rapidly being disabused of several preconceived ideas he had about the place.
Australia, just about how the brochure described it. Beautiful beaches, friendly people, easygoing lifestyle.
Then why am I mildly disappointed? What did I expect?
Boomerang.
I mean, the weather's been great, the scenery fantastic. What? Wait a minute, what did that man say?
He said boomerang.
Boomerangs, of course, that classic Aboriginal invention, that aerodynamic phenomenon that's as Australian as, well, the kangaroo, yes?
No. The Australian doesn't want to know about it.
What?
So says Duncan McClellan.
There's no one there, okay? Walk forward.
The Australian who gives free boomerang throwing lessons every Sunday morning at a park in Sydney. Now, he may seem encouraged.
Beautiful. Excellent. Stay there.
But the fact of the matter is,
that small tree. Ready?
most of his pupils aren't Australians. So when he says,
that is beautiful.
Deep down inside, he really means
It's disgraceful for this country, you know.
how the average Australian confesses to a question like,
When was the last time you threw a boomerang?
Do I say never?
No, never.
No.
No, I've never thrown one.
and then when actually given the chance,
Well, it did have some tendencies to glide, didn't it?
Did it ever come back?
No. Went over someone's house. It must be a dud. It doesn't work.
could it be that some Australians think boomerangs are dangerous? Something that maybe shouldn't be given to a child?
Get him a dozen boomerangs. Better. I haven't heard of a kid being killed with a boomerang yet, you know. This will bounce you on the head, it'll knock you out, and you'll wake up. You'll bleed a little bit, but you'll heal up, don't worry.
And don't get the wrong idea. There are some good Australian throwers out there, like Bob Burns, and former distance champ Stephen Silady, whose wife wrote a book on the subject. So you see, some Aussies are quite proficient with this thing.
I was born in Yugoslavia.
Well, you get the picture. The Australian skies aren't exactly filled with boomerangs. It's one of those misconceptions that, according to Rob Croll of Melbourne, never really does go away.
You know, every second person in Australia would have a pocket full of boomerangs, and kangaroos would be bounding down the street, and every now and then they'd go, oh, we're hungry, you know, zap out a boomerang and catch themselves a kangaroo or something.
Nope, that doesn't happen.
That's the Rolls Royce of boomerangs, but for fun and pleasure.
But then Duncan McClellan isn't exactly going hungry either. His boomerang shop moves a lot of merchandise. And this is where the story takes an unexpected turn.
We probably sell more boomerangs to Americans than anyone else in the world.
Ready? Get set. Launch.
Ah, yes, the American boomerang movement and its scholarly leader, Ben Ruhe, or should I say,
Ben Guru Roo.
co-author of this book and organizer of many a boomerang outing. Here in Washington, D.C., the skies, in fact, are often filled with boomerangs, and with lofty spiritual statements like,
What you throw out is what you get back.
that's Barnaby Ruhe, Ben's cousin, putting an egg on an apple on a hat. And that's the American style of boomeranging. A behind the back, under the leg, two at a time, always in motion, catch between the feet, blend of skill and pizzazz. Could these people beat the Aussies at their own game? That was the issue back in 1984 when the two countries agreed to a boomerang duel. Oh, by the way, remember the guy with the apple and the egg? Australians beware, thought Duncan McClellan.
So I said, you better watch your step. They said, oh, don't worry, we'll be right. Wait till they get here, you know. The Australian attitude is, she'll be right, mate, you know. Have another drink. Just don't worry about it. That's everything about right.
Well, they should have worried. The Americans won. And the reaction down under?
They were horrified. In fact, the Sydney Telegraph had an editorial titled Shame.
The day of Australia's disgrace. should be expunged from our history. The Americans came out and took the Boomerang Championship from us.
Shocked out of their complacency, the Australians rallied to win the rematch in 1986. Next year, the two countries will meet again.
Oh, we're going to crush them, obviously. We'll blow the doors off them there.
Ah, look, say no more about it.
It's very important to win.
After all, we're talking national pride here. We're talking heritage and tradition. We're talking...
My boomerang won't come back.
Oh, disgraceful.
For today, Mike Leonard, NBC News, Sydney, Australia.
Joe Whitty is here for Willard Scott, who's getting ready for a trip in Australia. He's already in New Zealand.
Yes, and I saw you yesterday eyeing that Mike Leonard piece about boomerangs, and I wanted to prepare you so when you went down there, you really had a good arm and ready to go. Let me show you a couple of typical boomerangs that we have. This one, of course, is the classical, complete with decorations of kangaroo. You see, it looks very much like an airplane wing.
Yes.
Now, this one will go out about 75 yards. This one we don't want you to throw in the studio. There is another one, a mini one, good for the backyard, made by a aerospace engineer in Ohio. Don't throw that one either. That's a little far. That's probably about
you think I'm going to throw
20 yards.
one?
You are, you are.
Right.
This is a Joe Whitty homemade special. You can make them yourself. However, here is the best one of all, Jane. This is a four-bladed one, and if you watch quickly, just sort of snap the wrist.
Let's see.
Yeah, it'll come around twice, and you catch it.
Joe?
Give it a try. So hold it like this.
All right.
No, turn it the other way.
Oh.
There you go. Good.
All right.
And just snap it towards John Palmer.
All right.
Yeah, one more time.
Not bad.
Throw it more towards Jimmy Straker this
All right.
time. No, that's a bouncer. Hey, there you go. All right, when Jane gets down to Australia, yes, it was. She'll be all set. However, the winds down there have really been too strong for any boomerangs, Jane, because, and this is what we call the doctor, those horrendous 25-knot winds that have helped the Stars and Stripes be the challenger in the America's Cup have come all because of a real strong sea breeze over Australia due to the hot into